Welcome to the Fanatical Elfz Show, part of the Elfz Network. We are a bunch of wild and crazy Cleveland Browns fans, bringing you all the latest in Browns news. Tune in now. Welcome, everybody, to a Fanatical Elfz Browns pregame show. We've got the Hall of Fame game coming up in a few hours, and we are coming to you from all over the globe. We've got Steve Gill over there in Nashville, and we have the Village Elliot, who is recording, yes, from a famous sports bar down there in the Dayton, Ohio area, Browns Backers Bar, and we are so excited to have you.
Well, thank you very much. We are recording live from Tootie's in Beaver Creek, Ohio. By the way, is there anybody here that lied about where they are right now? Because you're live on the Fanatical Elfz Network. And We're going to be heating up in the next couple hours, getting ready for the Browns game against the New York Jets at the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio. So right now it's still warming up, but it's going to get crazy here in a couple of hours. Back to you, John Suchan.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Well, we're getting excited, all Browns fans. It is the Hall of Fame game. It is preseason, but we've got a lot to talk about tonight, and we're going to see a lot of the younger players tonight. So we want to talk about expectations, things that we're looking for as analysts and contributors. We all contribute to various Browns periodicals, including Dog Pound Daily, Cleveland Sports Talk, Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders, and we just love talking Browns like you. And we're going to be watching the game now. Typically, it is the Hall of Fame game, and we might not be super into the game if it weren't for the fact that the Browns are playing against the New York Jets. We will be celebrating Joe Thomas later this weekend on Saturday, and we want to talk a little bit about that as well. So the festivities start today. Actually, I think they started yesterday when they honored Jim Brown. So initially, I just want to go around the room.
Today they honored Jim Brown.
Today. So Steve, just initial thoughts on today and expectations as we get prepped for the game tonight. It's going to be 8:00 on NBC TV. Steve?
No injuries.
Yep.
No injuries. Competitive game. Let's try to keep the penalties down, but I think that's asking for way too much.
Yes.
I'm excited about seeing the draft picks.
Yeah.
Sika Ika and McGuire. I know I'm very interested in seeing Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Mm-hmm. He'll be sharing the backfield with his former teammate, Dimitri Felton, probably.
Yes.
So, I'm and Cedric Tillman and Austin Watkins. I'm really interested in seeing this XFL player they signed last week. I heard he had a good camp.
We'll go around and talk a little bit more in detail about some of these players in a moment, because that is really what we're going to be looking at tonight. Is a lot of these younger players. Elliot, what are some of your initial thoughts going into tonight's game and expectations and players that you're initially looking to watch?
The main thing that's on my mind is that I've got this Reuben pizza sitting in front of me, and I'm going to have some of it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's
why are you doing this? Because it's 4:30 here. We're all getting a little hungry.
Oh,
yeah. Well, Reuben pizza, Reuben sandwiches are what Cleveland. One of the things Cleveland is famous for. I grew up in Cleveland, and that's the type of thing that we just really like because we have a Central European background collectively. I mean, regardless of what your actual ethnic background is, that's what the city is sort of built around. I think that what we really want to see is, number one, just like Steve said, no injuries. Number two, we'd like to see players that we have never heard of suddenly come to the forefront. We'd like to see that the scouting department has done its job and identified players that everybody else in the NFL has missed. So the players that we're not talking about, we'd like to see them come from out of nowhere and have some kind of exciting performance that we didn't think was going to happen. That's what we really want to see. And if you don't mind, I'm going to have some of this pizza.
Oh my gosh.
Hey.
Elliot is going to eat the pizza live on TV.
Live.
That's awesome.
I'm jealous.
I know.
I'm very jealous.
Hey,
I
so
love
Steve,
a good Reuben. It must be because I was born in Cleveland, because I love a good Reuben.
Steve, tell us a little bit. Did you watch the festivities today with Jim Brown? I didn't get a chance to see what they did.
No, I didn't. Like I told you before we came on, it's election day here in Nashville. Mayor, vice mayor, all the council districts. So I was at my local polling place, which is like 2.5 blocks from here.
Okay.
But I've seen some videos since I've been home, and very nice. I love the patch.
So let me just talk about.
I love the patch.
Let me ask you about just Jim Brown. I mean, this conversation, and I wanted to touch on it the other day on my Johnny Cleveland show. I didn't get to, but I think Rod Bloom did with the Browns Blitz today with his brother. They were talking about the logos at the 50-yard line again at midfield, and they want to again give fans like us a chance to vote on these. And one of them that was missing was
because that went so well last year, didn't it?
So, but I mean, I think a lot of us Browns fans, and especially in our age group, we really want to honor Jim Brown, and I think some of us were surprised that was not of the choices. And there was some discussion coming into this season because of Jim Brown's death. What would the Browns be doing? And now they're giving the fans kind of another choice. So, do you think there's any chance that they would recognize Jim Brown by putting that logo on the midfield or not?
No, I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think it's what is he drinking out of a pitcher?
I'm sorry. If you're watching the video live or coming on YouTube and Twitter, I mean X, you'll notice that Elliot is drinking. Not only he's eating a Reuben pizza, but he's also drinking out of a pitcher of soda pop or something or beer. We don't know, but
100% rum.
Right.
Dark rum. Love it.
Dark rum. That's what
I love it.
Fantastic. Okay, Steve, back to you.
Getting in touch with his island side, man. But anyway, no, they're not going to do that. They did the patch. They had the ceremony today. They might do something else during the season. You'd like to see that little patch maybe down on the 20-yard line somewhere in there.
Okay,
that would be nice. But no, I don't think they're going to. I think they should, but they won't.
Mm-hmm. So which is your favorite, Steve, of the three? Which one would you choose?
I went with the helmet.
Okay. Let's get your take, Elliot. You saw the logos at midfield. Do you like any three in particular? And or do you think Jim Brown should be? And you're muted. We want you to unmute. Elliot, we need you to unmute. There you go.
Yeah, I think we're going to make this point several times in the course of the evening, but Jim Brown is a very controversial character. Jim was a social activist in addition to being a premier athlete, football, lacrosse, basketball, track and field, baseball. I'm probably leaving out a few things. He's also a movie star, by the way.
Yes.
But I think that the NFL might be a little bit uncertain about how it would go over because of the way that his political legacy cuts through so many different social barriers. So I think that they aren't sure how it would work.
I agree.
But certainly his greatness demands recognition. There is no doubt that on the field he earned every possible accolade that we could imagine. So I think, he certainly deserves it. But I think it's hard to judge how it might be received by the general public.
Sure, I got you. Yeah. And considering that there is it's very interesting. I'm not just trying to completely switch gears here, but we're talking about how these figures and Jim Brown comparing him to someone like Deshaun Watson. Let's just I've been hearing some conversation even today from colleagues and contributors that I write with that are lifelong Browns fans. And still, I mean, we're a year removed, a year and a half after Deshaun was selected by the team. there's still many fans who will not root for the team any longer, or they're being distanced right now because of what they believe Deshaun Watson did off the field. And that's still, carrying over. And it's just interesting because I get asked that question too from outside groups, from the Steelers fans and the Jets fans, asking us about how do we as fan base, are we supporting Deshaun? Are we, and we talk about, well, if the Browns win, then everything is, okay. So I guess the question would be, with Deshaun, we're looking forward to that. He's not going to play tonight, but do you think that, what he's already done and how that's affected the fan base will continue, and will that change based on a winning ways? So let's go with you first, Elliot. And if you want to unmute. There you go.
Yeah, I think it's very hard to get in another person's head. I wasn't there when Deshaun Watson had any of the massages. I don't know any of the people that were involved.
Sure.
So I am persuaded that there is a problem, shall we say, that needs to be addressed. And I don't know the extent of it. I don't know what the treatment is. Sure. I don't know what the remedy is. I don't know what is the appropriate punishment. I don't blame people for being upset. I think everybody has to come to their own opinion about that. I don't disagree with people that are upset. And I don't disagree with them one little tiny bit. Whether it affects their enjoyment of the sport, it's up to each person to make that judgment for themselves.
Yeah, and I think I'm just thinking about that a lot because, we are talking about Jim Brown too. And so, you had mentioned earlier just, that with this discussion about what we want to do at the 50-yard line. And so it is still having a bearing, even things that he's done. I mean, Jim Brown did years ago that has affected the fans, and we don't know what that would look like. Steve, what do you think about all that? Stick on topping about Deshaun here. We're all expecting good things, hopefully, as a fan base for him. But do you think that the way the fans are, is that going to continue, and will that change if the team wins?
Well, I had mixed feelings when they signed him. I was excited, and then I got to thinking about it because my wife had suffered sexual harassment at her last job.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here and going, can I get excited about this? Can I be happy about this?
Sure.
Do I understand the women's point of view on all of this completely? Because, I lived through it with my wife.
Yes.
She and I sat down and talked about it. And she said, is he good? And I said, yeah, he's a franchise quarterback. And she goes, look, you've rooted for this team all your life. You went to games as a kid. You're heavily invested in this team.
Yeah.
She goes, is he going to get help? I said, yeah, the team is providing counseling. And in an interview in West Virginia, he talked frankly about that counseling he was getting. He said it's doing him a ton of good, and he loves it, and he's fully committed to it.
Yeah.
So she goes, well, you can't stop rooting for the Browns.
Yeah.
And she knows how much I'm invested in it. I mean, when I was president of Middle Tennessee Browns backers for 15 years, and I couldn't have done that without her help. I mean, when I retired, the Browns made both of us lifetime members and gave both of us a plaque.
Right.
So, they know, the team, the Browns backers worldwide knows it takes more than one person to run a club.
Right.
And she goes, well, you've got to continue to root for him. I mean, it's the Browns. She goes, it's the Browns.
Right.
And so, but I understand completely people who are turned off by it. I understand it. Believe me, I understand it completely.
Right.
The women who are turned off about it, I completely understand. And if my wife had said, no, that's a bridge too far, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I respect her wishes.
Right.
So, but I had to run it by her. I just didn't feel comfortable. It's like when you lose your favorite uncle and then you find out the guy was a millionaire and he left it all to you. But, yeah, you're rich, but you don't have your uncle anymore.
Yes. Right.
It's that same type of conflict, inner conflict that you had. Will the fans come back if the Browns win? I have a feeling some will. But there are others, and I don't blame them if they want to stay away or root for another team. Yeah, I understand completely.
So, well, on that note, let's get back to the game tonight. Let's pause for. I know. Let's pause for a break real quick. We'll do our commercial break. We got to pay the bills, and then we will be right back. Again, this is the Fanatical Elfz Cleveland Browns pregame show. We got the Browns versus the New York Jets Hall of Fame game tonight at 8:00 on NBC. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back here on the Fanatical Elfz Cleveland Browns pregame show. We are getting hyped and ready to watch the Browns play the New York Jets. Tonight's going to be a game where we see a lot of youth, a lot of rookies and little used players in the past. And we're looking forward to seeing a lot of these new guys. And so we want to talk about these new guys. So I think Elliot has something to say. Elliot?
Yeah, I wanted to add one thing. When I was about 12 years old, the book Ball 4 by Jim Bouton came out.
Great book.
It was sort of an expose on the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
And for me, it left no illusion about the sexual exploits of athletes, and they weren't very savory. So there was no illusion that professional athletes were not choir boys off the field.
Sure.
And I don't really have that. I never had very high expectations for human behavior in those high pressure environments. I don't believe that actors, I don't believe that athletes are very saintly. I just never.
Yeah. Well, I'm saintly. I don't know about you, Elliot. So I'm saintly. So that's all I care about.
I am too, but not by choice.
I'm not. I'm not. Like the Billy Joel song says, I'd rather laugh with the sinners than cry with the saints, because the sinners are a lot more fun.
There we go.
That's true. We are all, we all have our quirks and we all have our weaknesses at any time. And so that's why we love coming here on this Fanatical Elfz show and being part of the Fanatical Elfz network. We are just a bunch of regular Browns fans like all of you, and we like talking about the Browns, and we're getting hyped about tonight. I wrote an article for Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders tonight about 3 players to watch, young guys. We've talked a lot about Kellen Mond this week. He's been circulating. He's only completed 2 passes in his pro career for 5 yards, but the Browns did trade for him a year ago. He's been that third string quarterback. He's going to open the game tonight. Hopefully, in listening to him, he's put on a good conversation, his chatter about, putting on, he wants to put good film out there for other teams potentially. The other part of this is the other guys that I mentioned were Cedric Tillman, which we can talk about here shortly. And then also Hassan Hall. Thank you. Running back, Georgia Tech, used to play at Louisville and then got his big break when he played at Louisville or at Georgia Tech last year. Yeah. So let's go around the room, and I'm going to, I see that we've got BP here. Brad is going to join us. So we'll bring him into the conversation too. So we'll fill him in here real quick.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Hey,
welcome.
Brad.
Good. Hey, what's up, gentlemen?
Good looking hat there, Brad.
I just picked this up today.
That's awesome.
There you go.
So, Brad, we're going around the room and we're talking. By the way, just to let you know, Steve and then Elliot is broadcasting live from, tell me the bar again.
We're at Tootie's in Beaver Creek, Ohio, near Dayton, near Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I used to be at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base as an Air Force officer. I love it. These are the
Yes.
people that defend our country, and just pleased to be here with them.
And he's already been eating, Brad. He's already been eating a Reuben pizza in honor of Cleveland being the capital of the Reuben sandwiches. And he's drinking. There he is.
Oh.
And he's drinking out of a straight gin. No, wait, rum out of a pitcher.
Whoa.
It's Diet
With
Coke.
a straw.
Diet Coke. There you go. Anyway, okay. So
Oh,
Brad,
come on, Elliot. I like the rum.
we're going to get you
story
up to
better.
speed here real quick, but we are broadcasting here, and we're sending this out right after we record here. And just our question right now is we're looking at some of the younger players going to be playing tonight. And I read in an article this morning for Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders. We talked about Kellen Mond. We've talked about Cedric Tillman a lot this week. But the other guy is Hassan
Hall.
again. And so wanted to go around the room, Steve. Let's start with you, Steve. Talk about either him, a couple of these guys. And I want to know what other players or those guys that you're most interested in watching and why tonight. Steve?
Like I said earlier, I'm interested in the two Ohio State safeties. I mean, Hickman, but I'm kind of want to see McAllister. I'm a little more high on him. I want to see where DeJuan Jones, if he starts at right tackle or he comes in the second half. I've heard Tyrone Wheatley Jr. has passed him on the depth chart, which is not a good news for DeJuan Jones.
Okay.
I also want to see Luke Whippler, see how he does. And, of course, Cedric Tillman, Austin Watkins. I'm really intrigued about Austin Watkins, the wide receiver they picked up.
Yes.
From the XFL.
Cousin of Sammy Watkins.
Sammy Watkins, exactly. On defense, besides that, Sika Ika, McGuire, the
really
linebacker, Diabate. I'm interested in this Diabate, the linebacker Diabate.
Where's he from?
Diabate. I'm not sure, but he's gotten a lot of positive things said about him. So I'm interested. Also, I want to see who's going to return kicks. Both Grant and Jalen Darden are hurt.
Right.
So who's going to return punts? It could be an opportunity for a young guy to take a step up.
The Rod and his brother talked about Darden this morning and on their Browns Blitz. And just
I love him.
We love him, but the fact is, I mean, he's kind of one of those guys that could potentially take that 6 or 7 slot like you're hoping for.
Well, it all depends on Marquise Goodman.
Right, with Marquise Goodwin, exactly.
But you notice they haven't put him on an IR yet.
Right.
Maybe those blood thinners are working. You never know.
The name you mentioned earlier was Isaiah McGuire. Love this.
I love him.
Written about him a few times as well.
I've had him. I had him on like 2 of my 3 mock drafts.
Yeah,
I love this kid.
We'll come back and talk a little bit more about keys to the game and what we're looking for in a little bit, and maybe talk about McGuire more. But Elliot, let's go to you, Elliot, and then we'll go to UBP after Elliot here. Elliot, what are some guys that you are just more interested in watching, and some of the same guys that Steve mentioned, and why?
Well, I like Hassan Hall also, but I really am very curious about Nate McCrary. He's the running back that led the Baltimore Ravens in rushing yards in the preseason of 2021. Also, if you believe my numbers from the Pro Day, and by the way, there's good reason not to believe Pro Day numbers because they're more uncertain than Combine numbers because we don't know exactly how they're measured. Different running surfaces, different timing mechanisms, and so forth and so on. But if you believe those numbers, and particularly the 10-yard dash numbers, he hits the hole faster and harder than either Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt.
Really?
So I think he might be a short yardage back. He has a 4.52 40-yard dash time, I think. Which would put him at the same level as Nick Chubb, except that we believe, most of us, that Nick Chubb actually got faster after the Combine because he was still healing from knee surgery. So most of us think that Nick Chubb is actually faster than his Combine times actually would lead us to indicate. So I think we're interested to see that. I think we'd also like to see some of the unheralded defensive backs. I think we really would like to, you always need more defensive backs. I don't care how many people you drafted. I don't care how good they are. You're always looking for defensive backs that walked on as undrafted free agents.
Sure.
And you'd really like to see that. You'd like to see special teams players. Look at the kickoff returns and the punt returns. Those might be the most critical plays of the game because special teams is so important. And this is where you find out what you've got.
Yeah, very good. BP, some guys that you're paying attention to tonight that are maybe new or haven't played a lot for the Browns so far?
Yeah. First of all, it's good to be back on with you guys.
Glad to have you.
It's good to see some brown and orange.
That's right.
I've been doing these Cavs broadcasts with a couple of Steelers fans.
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, so that's why I had to jump on with you guys tonight.
Excellent.
So it is great to be back on with you guys. I know you guys carried the torch through the dog days of summer. You did a fantastic job. So shout out to everybody here, and also Joel and the other guys, Rod. So I've been keeping in touch. Don't worry. But, obviously because I live here in Cleveland, I get, a lot of stuff you guys may not even get, when you're outside the market. So I'm excited for the game today. I'm actually going to be watching the wide receivers. I'm fascinated by this Anthony Schwartz, with the injury to Marquise Goodwin, Schwartz has a chance to make this team. Everybody else.
Do you think he plays tonight?
Oh God, yes.
He'll play tonight.
They need to see what they have. Okay. That's why I think, a lot of people locally are sort of, poo-pooing this game. Like, oh, this is stupid. And no, there's competition out there. These guys were really good in college. You'd watch a college game, on Saturday with, guys like, the starting quarterback from UCLA who we're going to see the backup tonight.
Right.
You would watch for like guys like Cedric Tillman. I want to see how he does tonight. I want to see Anthony Schwartz. I don't know if they're going to play Jerome Ford tonight.
Yeah, you wonder. Yeah.
No, I don't
think so.
Probably not, because he's like entrenched as that second string running back. But I would like to see him. He hasn't carried the ball in almost a year.
Well, yeah. And Demetric Felton, I've heard today or yesterday that they are looking at potentially he might be the starting running back tonight.
Yeah, I'm all for that because I want to see. You got to see what these guys have.
Yeah.
And then, like you mentioned that, I think Isaiah McGuire, is that the defensive end that they drafted? Yep. I want to see how he shows out. What about a guy like David Bell, the wide receiver from Purdue?
True. Yeah.
Is he going to play tonight? I assume he's going to be playing.
No, you don't think so, Steve?
No, I don't think so.
I think a guy like him should play because, he's a third-round pick. You got Cedric Tillman's a third-round pick. You got Anthony Schwartz, third-round pick.
The one nice thing about tonight's game is that it is like an additional game that most other teams, it's extra. And so next weekend, they have their one home game against the Washington football team or the Washington Commanders. And that's a lone home game. So we'll see what happens with that one. But I imagine we might see a build up to some of the other guys starting to play. But
Stefanski in one of his news conferences said that some starters are going to play week 2 and week 4.
That's what I thought.
You're going to see Jerome Ford. You're going to see David Bell probably game 2. I just hope that because of the new offense, that between those 2 games, that Deshaun Watson gets at least 3/4 of play.
Okay,
because he's going to need it. I mean,
because you're not
brand new offense.
So the week 3 game when they play the Philadelphia Eagles, that they're having practice, right? They're practicing.
Well, that's what Stefanski does. Right. When they do the team scrimmages, he never puts the starters in the preseason game. That's what he's done the last year. So so that's why he said 2 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
In Kansas City, they play a lot of their starters all preseason. Well, so I expected Watson versus Mahomes in week 4. How's that on a Saturday afternoon?
Well, and I still think that we're gonna. Well, we'll talk about that topic later.
Yeah, later.
Okay, so we're going to the game tonight. Let's talk a little bit about what we're going to see initially. We'll have Kellen Mond at quarterback. I'm thinking Demetric Felton at running back. BP just mentioned Anthony Schwartz. Will he be starting as one of the wide receivers? And
I think so.
Okay. And who would be the other wide receiver? Anybody want to take a guess at that? Tillman, maybe.
And what's the guy that's always on the practice squad? Bradley.
Okay.
Bradley?
Will a guy like Harrison Bryant
Watkins?
Will Harrison Bryant play tonight, or probably not?
I don't know. He was on the sidelines the last 2 days during practice.
He's injured. Yeah, they said he was injured.
Him and Atkins are both. So we're going to see backup tight ends.
The thing about that I was interested in hearing from in the second half of the game. So we're going to have Mond quarterback in the first half. More than likely, we'll have Robinson, the quarterback from UCLA, quarterbacking in the second half. He was the one who mentioned Hassan Hall, in his press conference, which I thought was interesting because he was really high on this kid. But you also mentioned Robinson having played with Demetric Felton in the past.
Yeah.
So you wonder if they'll try to get those two out there at the same time.
Don't know.
Not.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Probably not. Felton will probably play the first half.
I wonder, anybody know in the group here when the last time the Browns played?
And we got to get John Kelly to play. He's our preseason running back, right?
That's true. And
he's like the modern day Ben Gay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Remember Ben Gay?
Yes.
Oh, God, yes.
No, so we're going to see, it's like a practice. This is like a glorified scrimmage. There'll be thousands of fans there, and there'll be lots of Browns fans. There'll be lots of Browns gear. It'll be exciting to see. Anxious to see, some of the veterans probably on the sidelines. They'll probably do some interviews with some of the other guys on both sides of the coin. I thought, just by the way, I just want to throw this out to Elliot here, who's listening. Elliot and Joel had a guest from the New York Jets come on earlier in the week. And if you get a chance, if you're listening to the Fanatical Elfz Network, and you can, download, go to Apple, go to Spotify, follow us, subscribe. We love the fact that our numbers are just skyrocketing this last month, and we are ahead of those percentages today, even from last month. So we are growing, and we love the fact that you're spreading the word about this great. We're part of the Fans First Sports Network, part of the Fanatical Elfz Network. And if you want, all the news that we can give you as Browns fans, we try to bring that to you in an entertaining way, like Elliot, who is live eating a Reuben pizza and drinking rum, that is Diet Coke, out of a pitcher of there. But what I wanted to mention as far as Elliot was talking about earlier is that they had an interview with this Jets fan who's a very smart guy,
Dan Burnham,
young guy,
the Jets life.
But I talked about Elliot,
very good.
And what I wanted to bring up to you and Elliot, I wanted to give this kudos to you, because I know you and Joel talked to this guy, and Joel kept saying in the interview, like, okay, Village is going to find a way to put down Aaron Rodgers. And I said on my show how I think, Jets fans are delusional. And I thought what you said about Rodgers' numbers consistently going down, and then some people will come back and say, well, Rodgers was the MVP 2 years ago, and he'll just do that again this year. And I'm like, no, he's not. He's 40 years old, and like you said, even Elliot, he's not Tom Brady. And I think Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. He will go down as one of the best in the history of the game. I no doubt about that. But Jets fans are, it's like us Browns fans. They get delusional and they think somehow the Jets are going to be super great, and they're not. I'm just going to say that. I'm going out on a limb here maybe, but it's great that they have Rodgers in a way, but I don't think he's going to be much better than he has been this last year. And I just thought it was a great conversation. If you get a chance, listen to Football Philosophy and Rocket Science with Joel and their guest.
Well, what's really horrible, and I won't pick on Aaron Rodgers necessarily, or our guy, Deshaun Watson, but in general, a lot of these $250 million quarterbacks, I think when they get injured and you put the backup in and the team still performs, I think people are going to question the wisdom of investing all of this money in these guys. I'm from the school of thought that says that there is a limit to how much one player can be worth. A quarterback is not worth unlimited resources, and there is a penalty to be paid by over investing. The salary cap is not non-existent, and it will come to haunt you if you blow 200 million. You can't just spend $200 million and neglect that if it turns out to be a waste. It will affect the performance of the team.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, Elliot, I have a request for you. Before we leave the show tonight, which is in a few minutes here, we'll have our final thoughts here as we close out our show. We are going to have a post-game show soon after the game ends. So if tune back into our Fanatical Elfz network, and we'll dissect a little bit about what we saw after the game, or maybe towards the end of the game, depending on what the game is looking like into that fourth quarter. But Elliot, if you can find, like, if I can see the bartender behind you. Can you get the bartender to come over and say hello to her?
She's really being overworked right now, but okay. I did ask her to come by.
I'd love to know I guess we want to know, is she a Browns fan, and would she and if not,
but yeah, let me see if we can get her attention.
Okay, we'll throw in a free T-shirt of the Fanatical Elfz. By the way, we are selling merchandise, and we haven't put it up on our social media platforms. So I will be doing that. We have a apparel store now with our Fanatical Elfz logo, and if you're watching this on YouTube or Twitter or X, you can see our logo. We actually have two logos now. We have the one there, and we have the one with the dog. I like the dog too, but I know it was funny listening to people talk about the new dog. There's a lot of negativity amongst the older fan base, but
I don't care.
But we're selling both. You can go to the website, buy all the merchandise you can. We're going to have our merchandise. We're excited, looking forward to that. And, but check us out again. We're on Twitter. I mean, the new X, it's called X now, folks. You probably already knew that. Facebook, we're on TikTok. Follow us along. You know, the most important thing is get on Apple, get on Spotify, get on iHeartRadio, and hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, and you will never miss one of our great shows. We have shows every day of the week now. We have shows a couple days of the week, or a couple during a day of the week. So, and we're going to be having pregame shows like this one. Post-game shows, we'll be talking about Kevin Stefanski. We'll probably have Elliot doing interviews post Browns games in the future during the regular season. So tune in. Any luck there, Elliot? Oh, excellent.
Yeah, she'll come by momentarily, but this place is starting to get kind of busy. You can't see.
You can't tip these waitresses enough for their.
No, I don't tip them. No, yeah, I do tip them, but she's the only one running the place, and there's a lot of customers.
Oh,
when she gets a minute, she'll come by.
That's fine, Ellie. Let's start with Steve. Just final thoughts on as we gear up toward this game tonight. I know it's almost 5:00 here. The game starts at 8:00.
Camera's
7:00 Central, and there you are.
There she is. Oh, nice.
Hello, how are you? We're part of the Fanatical Elfz network, and are you a Brown? It looks like you're a Browns fan. I love the gear.
You think?
Nice.
You think?
Oh, we can't hear you. You're on mute there, Elliot. You want to turn? There you go. We're on mute, Elliot.
You're still on mute.
You're still on mute, Elliot. Elliot, you're on mute.
Mute.
Unmute you, Elliot. Unmute.
I think he got flustered.
Elliot, you're on mute. Elliot. There you go. Okay.
We have trouble hearing anyway, but
phone home. Elliot, phone home.
Wendy at Tootie's in Beaver Creek, Ohio.
Hi there.
A Browns-centric place, but really any football fan, any sports fan, anybody that has money.
Everybody's welcome.
Everybody's welcome. Thank you.
We love.
I wanted to ask Wendy about, this really is a Tootie's invention, I think. The Reuben pizza, and there's also Reuben rolls.
Yes.
And
Reuben rolls, nice.
It reminds me of Cleveland because this is something that we really enjoy a lot in the Cleveland area.
Oh, this is very popular. The Reuben pizza.
Mm-hmm. I may be having to come over. We're over in the Columbus area. I think Steve, you're down in Nashville, and BP.
Yeah, I'm suffering down here.
But we'll. We had one of our other colleagues, Joel, actually said that he was going to come over there too. Elliot, he was hoping to come over there. So Tootie's. So it's called Tootie's. Is that right?
Yeah, Tootie's.
So if you're listening,
right on Colonel Glenn which is the main drag that actually connects Fairborn to Beaver Creek, and it's kind of on the way to the Air Force Museum.
Okay.
You come to the Air Force Museum, but you have to allow at least a full day to see it. It's so big that even if you jog through it.
Well, if you're a Browns fan, we want you to go to Tootie's down there in the Dayton area, Beaver Creek area. If you're listening to the show, just find it. Now, how do you spell it? It's Tootie's, Tuty. Is that right?
Tutys, yes.
Excellent. Okay. Well, we will all make our way down there at some point this season, I imagine.
Love that. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, this place will really heat up when it's game time.
Yes.
You won't even be able
Well, you
to
bring the heat every day, Elliot.
You better make a reservation. You better call in and make a reservation.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Wendy, for joining us.
Thanks,
So
great to have you
room
join
for
us.
everybody. They will see.
Why don't you get her prediction for the game?
Oh,
Prediction.
what is your prediction?
You have a prediction?
How do you want me to predict it? The Browns are going to win.
What's the
Yes.
score? Well,
There
what's
you
the
go.
final
Good
score?
enough for me. I'm good.
I predict whoever wins the game will definitely win the Super Bowl this season.
Oh. Fingers crossed.
Very good.
Wow.
Well,
Wendy, do you have a
Wendy, thank you for joining our show.
Can she give us a dog bark? A dog bark?
A dog park.
Oh,
Do you have a
no.
dog bark? Oh,
No. I'm
That's
a lady.
okay.
I don't bark.
Ah, nice.
I don't know.
Very nice.
This place actually
love
did it.
Oh, well.
How about here we go? How about here we go? Brownies. Here we go.
Okay, here we go,
Here we go,
brownies. Here we go.
Oh, there you go. Woof, woof. There you go.
Thanks,
Here we go,
guys.
brownies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take
you.
care. All right. Thank you very much. That was great. Fantastic.
Good job,
Elliot, good
Elliot.
job
Great
of
job.
reporting,
Awesome.
sideline reporting there. We love it. And we'll be back to Tootie's again. And again, let's just final thoughts. I think, we left off, I can't even remember who I left off with. Steve, had you?
Yeah, you're going to start
Share-
with me.
Yes, Steve, let's have final takes tonight.
Let's just like I said earlier, injury-free game, competitive game, not a lot of penalties, which I doubt.
Brad, what about you, bud?
That's all I'm asking.
No, it should be a fun game. You know, to start off the season, it's nice to see the Browns. They said it's been 24 years since the Browns were at this Hall of Fame game.
Oh, I
1999.
was wondering about that.
Yes,
When
that's like
was
a
it?
99?
generation. It's like
When
it
they
has-
started?
in 1999 was the last time they were here for this Hall of Fame game.
Mm,
So the tickets are going for like $300 and $400 each.
wow.
So yeah, that's because it's a very small stadium, and a lot of Browns fans are coming down for the game.
Yeah.
So I think it should be fun. And also, one side note is that Zach Wilson is starting for the Jets, so that'll be interesting
Okay.
to see how he does.
Yeah.
You know, the guy that really has been demoted because of Aaron Rodgers, and that's why they even went out and got Aaron Rodgers. The Jets.
Yes. Yeah.
Should be fun.
Hey, Steve, by the way, I wanted you to give props again to your Dog Pound Daily, Dog Pound South podcast that you bring every week that you're just doing. I mean, the shows are great. And if you want a different perspective from a not Cleveland perspective, being down there in Nashville, diehard, Steve is how do I want to say that? You're a Browns backers for life. You've been a member. Browns backers made you that in Middleton.
My wife and I, lifetime members of Worldwide Browns backers, and I was president of the Middle Tennessee Browns backers.
Middle Tennessee. That's right.
Yeah.
So very
I'll
good.
join them for the first game.
I will look forward to hearing your post game comments and your post game your day after or show on Monday or Tuesday when you come out with that for the Dog Pound South. Check us again out on the Fanatical Elfz Network. Also, the last Elliot, we'll finish with you down there from is it Tootie's again, right?
I just wanted to echo what Brad said, that I think that Zach Wilson will be an excellent challenge for the Browns defense, because the things that confuse him are not going to be present in the first exhibition game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Wilson will be a tremendous challenge for the first game.
It's a good point.
In the exhibition season. Also, I want to say that real players play special teams. Look out for special teams.
Yeah.
and look for players to come out of nowhere. That's what we're really trying to find on the first exhibition game.
Well, we go, Brownies. Here we go. We are just so excited. You know, Browns fans, we unite. We are most loyal fan base in the country. I laugh at Cincinnati Bengals fans who were rated as the #1 fans. Ha! That's so funny.
It was a Canadian gaming website.
I know.
What the God's name do they know about fan bases in the NFL?
Well, it should be.
Sorry, it was based on Google references. Whoop-de-doo.
Plus,
Browns fans don't Google. They already know where to go on the web.
You don't need to Google.
Like here. You come here to find out the Browns. You don't Google. You come to the Fanatical Elfz show. Come on.
Yeah. What's wrong with you people?
Plus, you see the Bengals have their Bengals training camp is outside their stadium. It's pretty lame.
Oh, it's so lame.
You know what I mean? They're so cheap. They don't even have their own practice facility. You know, like they practice by the freeway. It's crazy.
Well, everybody, I love having you guys on the show. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for being live from Tootie's down there. And was it Beaver Creek, Ohio, outside of Dayton, on your way to the Air Force Museum? It's military. Wait a second. What was the name of the museum?
Yeah, we're at Beaver Creek, Ohio, near Fairborn, near the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and the Air Force Museum. It's the biggest biggest aircraft museum in the world.
And we will be coming to you from that location probably many times this season. So we're excited that we get things rolling here for the Hall of Fame game. This is what you get if you tune into the Fanatical Elfz Network. BP, thank you so much for coming and joining us tonight. Steve, as always, thank you for being down there in Nashville and bringing all the great takes. Elliot, thank you again for bringing the Reuben pizza and the hardcore Diet Coke tonight. We love it. Tell Wendy, thank you for joining us from Tootie's, and we look forward to getting over there at some point. I will be over there to hang out with you one of these weekends, Elliot. So, all right, folks, take care. This is the Fanatical Elfz Network. Go Brownies. We will be bringing you a little post-game show, so tune into that later tonight. Until then, go Browns.
Go Browns.
Maybe. Let me see if I can get my music to play again. All right, here we go.
Go.
See ya.
I love you,